Hello.
Then, now,
Countdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell throws over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, welcome to episode number 101, TEW IX 101. This is your lesson in TEW. I'm your host, Connor TEW. We are here for Friday, the 31st of January 2025. It is the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. We fucking made it. And, yeah, we have a very stacked show here tonight, including our main event, which is Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai teaming up against Io Sky and Asuka. We also have Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, which is our opening match. We have Kofi Kingston against The Miz. We have Ember Moon against Ariana Grace. We have Queendom Omega against the Fierce... Well, maybe Queen Omega versus the Fierce and the Fabulous, because Yoko did get hacked last week, so who knows if she's here tonight. But Saya and Yoko versus the Fierce and the Fabulous expected. We have Chase U versus Pretty Deadly and Tonya Breeze. We have... can't remember. We definitely have a full 7-match card announced. But yeah, we also have a face-to-face between Ilya Dragunov and Bobby Lashley to kick off the show. So yeah, without any more further ado, let's jump straight into this go-home show. We kick off. Adam Pearce is in the ring. He says, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Friday Night SmackDown here in Los Angeles. We are 24 hours away from a historical Royal Rumble in SoFi Stadium, where the road to WrestleMania will officially get underway. Now, before we get there, though, we do have to learn who will be the World Heavyweight Champion heading into the road to WrestleMania. Will it be the current champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley? Or will it be the number one contender for the championship, the man who faces Bobby Lashley tomorrow night? This man, Ilya Dragunov. Out comes Ilya, waving his arms in the air. Crowd waving their arms with him. And Pearce goes, Ilya, over the past few years, you've been chasing that World Heavyweight Championship and it continues to elude you. Whether it be up against Montez Ford, up against LA Knight, up against Swerve Scott, and now against Bobby Lashley. Every time you've chased that World Heavyweight Championship, you've fallen just short of the mark. What makes you think this time will be any different? And Ilya sort of just stares across at Pearce. He goes, I didn't mean any disrespect. And Ilya goes, no disrespect taken, Adam Pearce. It's a very, very valid question. What makes me think that this time will be any different? What makes the Mad Dragon think that Royal Rumble tomorrow night will be my time to finally walk out as the World Heavyweight Champion? And there's one simple answer I have for you, Adam Pearce, and MVP and Bobby Lashley. I know you're back there ready to come out for this face-to-face, but I need to get this out right here, right now. It's because I am not afraid of Bobby Lashley. You see, every other time I've stepped into the ring to wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's been against world-class opposition. Guys like Swerve Scott, guys like LA Knight, guys like Montez Ford. But Lashley, he's different, because you see, Lashley, he's not this great wrestler. He's a fighter. He brings the fight to everybody. And when it comes to a fight, Adam Pearce, I do not back down. Bobby Lashley is not going to submit me, make no mistake about that. He's not going to pin me. He's going to have to kill me to walk out of Royal Rumble, the World Heavyweight Champion. Because I know when it comes to going toe-to-toe with the almighty Bobby Lashley, they can't build them better and more equipped than the Mad Dragon. So when MVP and Lashley do come out, and he goes, are you finished, Ilya? Are you finished? Now listen, kid. the almighty Bobby Lashley, you know, we've known you for a while now. We've seen what you've done here on SmackDown. You're unimpressive. One day you will be World Heavyweight Champion in the future. But not at the Royal Rumble, man. Come on now. Don't be a dumbass. You know how we feel about dumbasses around here. Everyone's a dumbass except for us. Apparently you included, Ilya. I can see you don't have any brain cells in there if you think that you can hang in a fight. Not a wrestling match, a fight. Those were your words with the almighty Bobby Lashley. Well, the almighty Bobby Lashley isn't just a world heavyweight champion professional wrestler. He's also a dominant mixed martial artist. He's torn apart every single man to ever step into the ring with him, Ilya Dragunov. You've survived a lot of fights in your day against some of the toughest men in WWE today, but there's no man tougher than the almighty Bobby Lashley. Now this match, tomorrow night, the Royal Rumble, it's gonna be can't miss. It's gonna be box office. You know, it's not every day you see Ilya Dragunov on the box office, because you're not quite to the level of the almighty Bobby Lashley yet, and you will get there one day. So this is your first big box office attraction of your career, Ilya. But if you keep running your mouth and trying to bite off more than you can chew, it's gonna be your last big box office fight in WWE. And Ilya Dragunov laughs. He goes, "A lot of talking, MVP. You see, I don't want to hear from you anymore. This, when it comes to me and Bobby Lashley, this isn't about talking. We've talked enough. You and the Hurt Business, you took me out. You took out Randy. You took out everybody else. And you would just do that because you're worried that maybe one day one of us will step to you. Well, guess what, MVP? That day is today. That man is me, the Mad Dragon, the Shah, the man who can go toe-to-toe with the dragon and come out on top. So if you think the almighty Bobby Lashley can put me down," and he sort of like drops the mic and puts his arms out wide, like calling Lashley on. And you can see Lashley like takes his belt off, you know, takes his suit jacket off, he gets ready for fight, but MVP like puts his arm out and stops Lashley. He goes, "Like I said, Ilya, box office fight. The almighty Bobby Lashley could rip you in half right now with his bare hands, but he's not going to do that, because then where's the fight? If you can wait 24 hours, Ilya, Lashley will see you then." And Lashley and MVP walk off, and Ilya grabs him and goes, "Where are you going? Where are you going, Bobby, huh? You couldn't possibly be intimidated by me, huh? Not the almighty Bobby Lashley." And you can see Lashley getting angry. He like looks at MVP, like he doesn't say anything, but you can tell he's like looking at MVP and like, "Come on, let me go in there and fight him." And MVP just sighs. He sidesteps and like signals for Lashley to get into the ring. Lashley charges into the ring. Him and Ilya immediately start getting into a brawl, and it ends with Lashley hitting a Dominator through the table. So there's not a table, so just a Dominator on the floor, I guess. And then picks him up for another Dominator, just lays him out with like 3 Dominators. No, actually, sorry, just one. He hits the one Dominator and then he leaves. But Ilya rises to his feet and grabs him. He goes, "Is that all you've got, Lashley gets back into the ring. He spears him again. He hits him with another Dominator. And he leaves the ring again. Ilya starts to get back to his feet. Lashley looks so pissed off. He locks him in the Hurt Lock. Ilya starts to fade. And Lashley does leave Ilya Dragunov laying to end the segment. And him and MVP walk back up the ramp when Drew McIntyre's music hits. And he walks out onto the stage ahead of his match with Jacob Fatu. And him and Bobby Lashley have another tense stare down. He goes, "Congratulations on taking him out, Bobby. Because I hope you didn't forget about me. Because I'm taking that championship back tomorrow night when I win the Royal Rumble. I'm going to see you at WrestleMania. And we can do our business then." He sort of shoulder checks Lashley on his way down. But yeah, Drew McIntyre makes his way to the ring for a big fight with Jacob Fatu to kick off SmackDown. 86. Someone needs a gimmick change. It's The Miz, apparently. The Miz he's on the commentary team. Yeah, never mind. He is wrestling later on tonight. But yeah. Anyway, Drew McIntyre does defeat Jacob Fatu with a Claymore in 1504. Angelo Dawkins comes out and he sort of like just lingers around ringside, like trying to get shots in on Jacob. And eventually this does distract Jacob, and then he turns around and eats a Claymore and gets pinned. 76 for Drew, 88 for Jacob. So yeah, Drew McIntyre with a big, huge win on his way to the Royal Rumble. Can he take that momentum all the way to victory and all the way to WrestleMania, where he's seemingly going to be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship if he wins the Royal Rumble? You know, he's got his eyes on Bobby Lashley, but it could be Ilya. We then cut backstage. Kayla Braxton is with Chris Jericho. And Kayla goes, "My guest at this time, the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho." "Hi, Kayla." "Hi, guys." And Kayla goes, "Chris, tomorrow night you take part in your first Royal Rumble here in 8 years. And you've got a hell of a lot of records in the Royal Rumble. Like you said, the longest lasting superstar across every single Royal Rumble. You've had the most cumulative time in any Royal Rumble match across every single wrestler in the history of WWE. He goes, "That's right, Kayla, because I'm the greatest of all time." So, you can actually finally win one for a change tomorrow night. And Trick sort of stares at him and goes, "What's with the passive aggressiveness, Kayla? Of course I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. Who else would win the Royal Rumble?" Kelly goes, "Well, we did see, we got a very interesting video posted to TikTok last night from one AJ of the Costco guys, saying that he was going to be at the Royal Rumble tomorrow and he was going to enter and win the Royal Rumble. And it's going to be a big boom." And Jericho sort of glares at him and goes, "I don't know who that is, Kayla Braxton. But let me tell you one thing all about it. Big AJ Styles, or whatever he calls himself, he ain't ever gonna do better than Chris Jericho in the Royal Rumble, okay? Because I am the greatest man to ever professional wrestle in my life. And anybody who sits under my learning tree, they're better off for it." Then William Regal walks into frame. He goes, "Evening, Chris. Long time no see." And he goes, "Regal?" He goes, "Now, Chris, you are running your mouth a lot. And, of course, Daniel Bryan will see you in the Royal Rumble match tomorrow night. But I'm not actually on here on behalf of Daniel Bryan. I'm here on behalf of my students, my proteges, Julius and Brutus Creed, who last week I managed to fire up and get them back into the mix of the tag team ranks here on SmackDown, only for your boys, Aussie Open, to get themselves involved in our business and lay out Julius and Brutus after their victory. I'm just wondering, Chris, what is the play here?" And Jericho goes, "Regal, you think I dictate every single thing that Kyle and Brad do? Of course not. What happened was this, Regal. I won my spot to be in the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. And me doing so good, a rising tide raises all ships, so everybody else in the learning tree wanted to make a name for themselves, and I guess my boys fought your boys with the easiest target. You dig?" Regal goes, I think I understand what you're saying, but I would heavily, heavily disagree." And Jericho goes, "Well, if you disagree so much, how about next week you get those Creed boys, I'll get my boys, and we can have ourselves a tag team match." And Regal goes, "That sounds great. We can prove to the world that we are the future of the tag team division here on SmackDown." So yeah, Chris Jericho has summoned Aussie Open to face the Creed brothers in tag team action next week. Also, let's not overlook the fact that Big Boom AJ is in the Royal Rumble. We can't overlook that. That's huge news. We then cut back to Jacob Fatu. He's kicking crates, he's throwing boxes around, he's furious. He goes, "Where is Angelo Dawkins?" And Nick Aldis sort of carefully walks up to me and goes, "Easy, big man, easy. I don't want any problems here. You put your hands on me, I can make your life miserable. I get the frustrations. Dawkins has been a bit of a rascal around here recently, but I need to ask you one thing. Okay, you've got your Royal Rumble match tomorrow night. You plan on winning that Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania. It's fine, Jacob. You can deal with Angelo Dawkins at your own time, but I'll get Dawkins and I'll make a match. You can get your hands on him next week if if you leave the arena right now and don't disrupt the show for any longer. And Jacob goes, you better keep your word, Aldous, or it's not gonna end well for you or Dawkins. And he walks off. And he does leave on his own accord, you know. He's a big angry Samoan werewolf, but he is, I guess, at least tameable. And Nick Aldis sort of looks panicked. He goes, yeah, I wouldn't dream of pissing you off, big man. $73. Sure, it's a Miz match. Literally and figuratively. But, you know, as Kofi Kingston is rocking and rolling in this match, Neville's music hits. And he just walks his way down. Like, slowly just appears on the ramp. And just stops halfway down the ramp. And he just stares into the ring. And Kofi sees him and he gets distracted. And the presence of Neville is enough to throw Kofi so far off his game that he's rolled up and pinned by The Miz in 8 minutes and 18. 79 for Kofi Kingston, 67 for The Miz. Yeah, when was the last time Miz won a match? Now. January 31st, 2025 is the answer, I guess. But yes, Mike Mizanin with a big win over Kofi Kingston, you know, after the match. Neville still just stands there, you know, a smile forming on his face, the little gremlin man chuckling to himself because he's fucked Kofi over again. Kofi absolutely in disgust. Miz, he runs up to Neville, he like gestures to give him a big high five, and Neville just shoves Miz on the floor, and Miz like awkwardly gets up and walks to the back, pretending he's not embarrassed, you know. He's not owned, he'll tell you all. But he was. We then cut back to the Candice and Dakota locker room. And they're getting ready for their match. They're putting their gear on and shit. You know, doing their hair and shit. Getting their ring gear on. And Dakota goes, I mean, have we even seen Asuka and Io today? You know, I think last week was such a big misunderstanding. You know, I'm not even sure if they even still want this match tonight. Candice goes, of course they want this match tonight. Dakota, you're so naive. Of course they want this match. Okay? They want to weaken us down and soften us up for tomorrow night for this Royal Rumble match that they plan, or Io plans to win. And, you know, they've really got to get revenge after, you know, thinking that you did what they say you did to Kairi and trapped her in our locker room 2 weeks ago, allowing her to get attacked by Queendom Omega. And Kairi goes, but I didn't do it. You know, I wasn't even here. Kairi goes, I know that, but they don't. And Dakota's like, but, you know, even after last week, you know, when they bumped into us and I told him it wasn't me, and, you know, you was out here and we cleared our names, you know, we made it pretty clear it wasn't us. And Candice goes, heh, heh. And Dakota sort of pauses and goes, sorry, what was that? Candice goes, oh, you're funny. You're adorable, even. Dakota goes, I didn't make a joke, like, I'm actually being serious. And Candice's like, yeah, I know that's what makes it funny. You know, we didn't do that last week. And Dakota goes, we did, you know, they came up to us and we cleared our name. And Candice's like, no, we cleared your name. And Dakota sort of pauses and goes, oh my god, Candice, what are you doing? Okay, it's like, listen, they deserved it. Okay, it's a taste of their own medicine, and yeah, but they were really quick to blame you and throw you under the bus, like you were ready to stab them in the back in a moment's notice, huh? And Dakota goes, Kairi's in the hospital because of what you did. Candice goes, yeah, and so just walks off. Dakota like looks in disgust as Candice leaves, like, oh, what the fuck? Speaking of, and then cut to the Queendom Omega locker room. Saya is getting herself warmed up for the match, and, you know, Cammy comes up to the other three in the background. You know, they've got more important business in the next 24 hours than worrying about this match, so they're just, you know, plotting back there. And Cammy goes, Saya, I know you're, you know, brave fighter. You know, you want to do us proud. But, we weren't here last week, and you and Yoko, you fought Io and Asuka, and Yoko's not here tonight. After the attack at the hands of Io and Asuka, I guess, as revenge for what we did to Kairi. So, this match against Shayna and Carmella, you're gonna have to go it alone unless, we call it off. And Ty goes, no, I go it alone. And walks off. And Cameron's like, watch her. And she leaves. But yeah, it seems we will be getting that handicap match instead of a tag match. Saya Kamatani, the fighting little scrappy phoenix she is, wants to go it alone against both Carmella and Shayna Baszler tonight. 75? Sure, that's better than I thought it would be. Ember Moon, to the surprise of nobody, remains in the Royal Rumble match. She does pin Ariana Grace with the Eclipse in 8 minutes and 5. 78 for Ember, 56 for Ariana. And yeah, nice little momentum building win for Ember Moon. A dark horse, you could say, for the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. Can she do it? I'll have to wait and find out. Speaking of dark horses, I guess. Kayla Braxton is with Big Bronson Reed, the United States Champion. And she says, Big Bronson, last week you put to bed your issues with your former tag team partner Ricochet when you retained the United States Championship in a rematch against him, the former champion. I just wanted to let you know, with Ricochet now out of your sights, what's next for Big Bronson Reed as the United States Champion? And he goes, what's next for me, Kayla, is whoever dares step up. Now, I saw Bobby Lashley and Ilya going out early on tonight to see who dares to fight each other when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship. Well, the same goes for this championship right here, because I want to fight anybody out there who thinks they're tough to step to Big Bronson Reed. As a matter of fact, if anybody back here right now thinks they've got what it takes to be the next United States Champion, come on. And the Miz walks into frame, and he goes, Big Bronson Reed. That Ricochet, he's a real piece of work. He's so annoying. I'm so glad you managed to shut his mouth last week. But I overheard you and Kayla here talking about who's next for you and who you believe should be the next in line for a shot at the United States Championship. Well, I'll have you know, I just beat former WWE Champion Kofi Kingston tonight. Okay, I'm on fire right now. And, I want the next shot at that championship. And Bronson Reed just laughs and goes, really? You get one win that you didn't even earn and you think you get a title shot? And Miz goes, why, are you scared of me? Are you a chicken? Are you scared of the Miz? And he starts making chicken noises like a little cringe lord. And Bronson Reed just puts his hand on his shoulder and he goes, and I thought Ricochet ran his mouth and was an annoying little turd. Next week, I'll get just as much satisfaction squashing you. And he walks off, and then all of a sudden Miz is no longer cocky, and he's like, I didn't think he'd actually accept Kayla. What am I going to do? I don't want to fight Bronson Reed. Kayla just sort of laughs and walks off. He goes, I don't want to fight Bronson Reed. Rumble hype videos. The same ones from Raw. We didn't do them on ECW because I forgot, but the old school Rumble promo videos, starting with Daniel Bryan, and then he goes, tomorrow night, it's very likely my last Royal Rumble match as my full-time career comes to an end. I made a career out of being the underdog out of Cinderella stories. Who can forget Yeselmania and everything else? But one thing I've never done that all you people have begged me to do is win the Royal Rumble, and I can't think of a more fairy tale ending for the fairy tale wrestler than winning the Royal Rumble, finally going on to WrestleMania and once again becoming world champion. Charlotte Flair. Cheers. There's never been a woman in the history of this WWE who's won 2 Royal Rumble matches. Now, momentum is not on my side right now, but we all know with the Queen, that can turn on a dime. So all of you who are ruling me out, you should know better by now. Woo! Sami Zayn. He goes, I know there's so many megastars in this Royal Rumble match. Roman Reigns is in this match. Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Gunther, Daniel Bryan. There's no way a guy like Sami Zayn could get the job done, right? Right. But that's exactly why, tomorrow night, the one man who will overcome the odds, the one man who will be left standing after 29 other men have been eliminated, is Sami Zayn. And then get Julia. She says, last year, I was women's champion. This year, I want my championship back. I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble. Go to WrestleMania, win back the ECW Women's Championship, and bring a second World Championship to Queendom Omega. And Io is the last one. And she says, at WrestleMania, I'm taking my title back. '74. Pretty Deadly are. They're getting there. Like, I'll be honest, their ratings have definitely, like, made me think that, like, I had them slotted to do, you know, less important stuff heading into WrestleMania because I don't want to do too many multi-man tag title matches. But, you know, with ratings like these, they might sneak onto the card somehow. But yes, it is. They're still called the Maximum Male models, I guess, technically. But Pretty Deadly and Tonya Breeze defeating Chase U. Ellen Prince cheats to defeat Andre Chase in 9 minutes and 6. 60 for Fia, 65 for Duke, 63 for Andre Chase, 42 for Tonya Breeze, 74 for Kit Wilson, and 80 for Ellen Prince. So yeah, nice little rebound win for Pretty Deadly after the losing their rematch to the Mercy Machine Guns. We then cut to Nick Aldis in his office, and he's with Angelo Dawkins. He goes, Dawkins, you've pissed off the wrong man, let me tell you. And he goes, I ain't worried about it, fam. I'll take him out whenever I need to fight him. I'll fight him, just not tonight, because I've got a Royal Rumble to prepare for. I was goes, yes, so you've said, yeah. But, you know, Jacob Fatu was very angry after you screwed him tonight, and I promised him I'd make him a match against you on the premise that he'd leave the premises. So, Dawkins, next week, it will be you against Jacob Fatu. And then Dawkins like, oh, sorry, fam, I didn't mention, I've got a cough coming, and, you know, it's kind of bare bones right now. I'll be there tomorrow, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time, it might be real bad come next Friday. Aldis goes, well, it can be as bad as it wants to be, because you're having this match, whether you like it or not, and, if you don't show up next week for this match against Jacob Fatu, I'll banish you from SmackDown. We'll send you over to Raw. And Dawkins goes, fair to just do that right now. And Aldis is like, you sure? Because I definitely think you've got some enemies over on Raw as well that you might not want to see. And then Dawkins has pause and he goes, on second thought, fam, my throat's a lot better already. I'll be there next week. And I'll fight Jacob Fatu. And I'll beat him. And he walks off. So yeah, no getting out of that one. Angelo Dawkins against Jacob Fatu next week. We then cut back. Pretty Deadly, hyped up after their win. And Caleb Braxton's like, Pretty Deadly, congratulations on your win. He goes, that's what I'm saying, okay? They had those university frat boys next up in line for a shot at those tag team championships before us. Now we've proven why that was a load of bollocks, Caleb Braxton. Okay. Time after time after time after time, we've been screwed over. We never even would have had a shot at those championships if we didn't bust our ass, becoming the first ever tag team Money in the Bank winners. The greatest tag team Money in the Bank winners of all time. The greatest tag team Money in the Bank cash-in you have ever seen. But next time we get our shot at those Motor City Machine Guns, you can bring whoever you want. You can bring anybody. Lin-Manuel Miranda can be out there himself, scouting the Pretty Deadly the musical. You can bring Vanessa Hudgens and any other Disney star you can think of. The entire entourage can be out there, because ain't nobody stopping us from getting back our WWE Tag Team Championships. And they walk off. Oh, 80 rated match for this handicap match. I mean, I can kind of see that because, you know, it is, like, it's a handicap match, but it's basically Saya being, like, Scrappy-Doo. Like, trying to fight two people at once. I imagine there's one point in the match where, like, as the match starts, Shayna and Carmella are both in the ring, sort of, like, awkwardly looking at each other. Like, do one of us leave or whatever? And one of us stand on the ropes, or are we both legal? And then Saya slaps both of them, like, starts trying to take the fight to both of them. In the end, Shayna Baszler does take her down, submitting her with a Kirifuda clutch. I imagine she passes out, actually. That feels more in line. 62 for Saya, 76 for Carmella, 85 for Shayna Baszler. Then after the match, you know, Shayna and Carmella are celebrating. They're like, what the hell, you know, one woman is all we've got. When Saya jumps back to her feet and she gets on Shayna Baszler's back again, starts raining punches down her, probably starts like biting the back of her head or whatever. And then Carmella pulls her off, super kicks her. Shayna Baszler and Carmella start attacking her. That's when Utami rushes out with the World Championship. And she, like, grabs Carmella, knocks Carmella out with the championship, nails Carmella with the hijack bomb, kneels down to check on Saya. But as she kneels down to check on Saya, she turns around and Shayna, like, knees her right in the nose and, like, catches her square on. I'd never ever advocate for such a thing, right? But ideally, let's say this should go a little bit wrong, and Shayna should legitimately break her nose, like bust her nose up with a knee, or we'll rig it so it looks like that happened. But yeah. The scene is that Utami turns around, just eats the stiffest fucking knee from Shayna Baszler you've ever seen in your life, and, like, it completely busts her up and her nose explodes. And Shayna leaves. And, yeah. Utami walks to the back holding her nose. Saya's, like, checking up on her, going, oh my god, queen, you okay? But yes, another case of, you know, these two specifically, I guess, blind loyalty to each other, you know, ending up getting the other person in trouble. Because now Utami's got to wrestle Asuka with a broken nose. So, that's not going to go well. Labyrinth video. You know, they're back in the tombs or whatever. And Nathan Kelly goes, hey Drake, did you hear this? This whole thing about the SmackDown Tag Team Division, you know, Aussie Open against the Creed Brothers next week. And he goes, Aussie Open and the Creed Brothers, man. We're better than both those guys. I know it's great, you know. For some reason, we're not getting our turn. We'll get our turn at some point. All we've got to do now is keep grinding, okay? Because we're the little man right now. We're the young upstarts who've got to prove their worth. And all we can do is our best. And that's all we're going to keep doing. But without the Miz here, you know, it's awfully quiet. He goes, yeah, it is. Just the way we like it. So yeah, Labyrinth, quick promo segment just to let you remind you all that they exist. Because the SmackDown Tag Division is coming together, like. I still have the Revolution and the Hurt Business that have sort of not been doing much over the past few weeks. But basically every other team's getting involved in shit now. And it's kind of peak. You know, Raw has Fraxium, Path of the Dragon, the Patriarchy, and then ABC and the Grand Jury, who are doing stuff with each other. But, like, SmackDown's division feels a lot more fluid. Like, where SmackDown's men's mid-card is weak, its tag division is strong. Very much like real life. Did I not click next segment? I did not. Anyway, speaking of the men's mid-card, Johnny Gargano is here. I don't know, he's doing something. Whatever Johnny Gargano does backstage by himself. Plays a game or something in his locker room, and he hears a knock at the door. And he goes, come in. And Dakota walks in. She goes, hey Johnny. And he goes, hey, have you and Candice not got that match? She goes, yeah. It's about Candice, actually. You know, everything okay at home? And he goes, I think so. Yeah, why? He goes, you've not noticed anything off about your wife lately? And he goes, not particularly. I mean, she was saying something last week about you and, you know, I spoke to her about you and, you know, made her make that call to reach out to you and make amends after what happened at Cyber Sunday. Dakota goes, oh yeah. And he's like, and yeah, all she can think about is you, you know. She talks about you all the time, even at home, even when she's with Quill. All it's about is Dakota this, Dakota did this, Dakota did that, you know. She really likes you, and I'm glad she's got you to hang around with here, because with us obviously being in different locker rooms, it's nice for her to have somebody in the women's locker room I know she can trust. And Dakota goes, but other than that, nothing weird. And he goes, no? Why? Did she say something? And Dakota goes, no, that's kind of the problem. And she walks off. '81, that's a little bit disappointing, actually. I was expecting at least a Blu-ray for this. Pete Dunne wins over Carmelo Hayes via some shenanigans from Mr. Jonathan Gresham. And yeah, a bitter end. Pete Dunne gets his revenge on Carmelo Hayes here, but something tells me this isn't over. Did Pete ever actually get his revenge from, you know, the cash-in? Because Melo beat him at Judgment Day in the defense, in the rematch, and I don't know if they ever touched after that, because Pete went off to do the stuff with Brian, and Melo, you know, feuded with Montez Ford and LA Knight and shit. I don't really think they would have, unless they had like another random ass SmackDown match that I'm forgetting about for the US title or some shit. But yeah, Pete Dunne, he gets his victory over Carmelo Hayes. He beats him here tonight, avenging that 5-minute world title run. They both scored 93, so the match gets an 81. But yeah, something tells me things aren't over between the two with the way this ended. We then cut to the doctor's office, or the doctor's room, where Utami's getting her bloody nose checked on. She's got like the tissue up her nose and shit. And Cammy walks in and goes, oh my god, my queen, what happened? What happened? She goes, sire. Cammy goes, is she okay? Are you good? She goes, I'm fine. Deal with Asuka. And Cammy's like, whatever you say, my queen. And she like turns to the doctor and she goes, you better make sure she's okay. And they're like, she seems it, you know, just a little bit groggy and a bloody nose. She goes, sure. If she's not okay and we end up, I didn't even want to say it, then it's on you. She walks off. Next week will be hard on the road to WrestleMania. The WrestleMania sign will be hanging, and we've got some matches set for next week's episode of SmackDown, including this: Jacob Fatu versus Angelo Dawkins, one-on-one. Big Dawkins, he's got to show up or else he will be banished to Raw. And he's pissed off the wrong Samoan werewolf, and next week they will go one-on-one here on SmackDown. Plus, for the United States Championship, another mauling from a big monstrous Samoan on another smaller, but not that small, man. As The Miz, after getting one victory, started, you know, piping up, thinking he was next in line for a US title shot. And he is. Bronson Reed against The Miz next week. And it'll be a tag team match as Aussie Opens, Brad Sawyer and Kylan Rogers of the Learning Tree face off against Julius and Brutus Creed, the Creed brothers, managed of course by Mr. William Regal. We then got back to Dakota. You know, she's walking down the hallway and she sort of stops and Candice walks into frame. She goes, you good to go? And Dakota goes, I think so. Listen, I don't mean to... Don't take this the wrong way, Candice. She goes, what? She goes, tonight, can I call the shots out there? Candice goes, why? Don't you trust me? And Dakota's like, it's not that I don't. It's just you're a little, you know, especially with EO out there, you know, it's like you see red, like you're a bull. She goes, I'll be fine. And she walks off, and Dakota goes, I sure hope so. Main event time. 87. Yeah, that's pretty good, especially considering the finish. The first advert break comes, obviously, EO does like a moonsault, springboard moonsault to the outside on him. Gets all fired up when we see Cammy just walk out on stage. And like, oh my god, Cammy's here, what's going to happen when we come back from the ads? And then, she sits at the announce table. And she's like on commentary for the rest of the match. And she's running riot. She's doing her stuff. Asuka comes in, she starts wiping them out. Basically, Dakota and Candice are on the back foot for the whole thing. Because Io and Asuka, they click. This is their second, ever 2-on-2 official tag team match together, but they click instantly, because it's Io and fucking Asuka. And in the end, it's Io and Candice, the two legal women, and Io sort of gets in Candice's face, sort of gives her a vicious smack in the face. And Candice, of course, does see red. Dakota's on the apron, no, don't do it. But, nothing can stop Candice. She leaps on Io, starts raining punches down on her, stomps on her, and, the referee does the count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Candice is disqualified. And she once the bell rings, all bets are off. She goes to the outside, she grabs a steel chair, and she starts wailing it on Io, wailing it on Asuka. Cammy's having the time of her life on commentary, going, yes, hit her again, because obviously she hates Io and wants Asuka as weak as possible. And Candice continues to just keep wailing chair shots on both of them. And, eventually Dakota does step in. She yanks the chair off Candice. And Candice's like, what the hell are you doing? Okay, I'm doing this for us. I weaken her. We can win this Royal Rumble match. And Dakota sort of does pause. She has the chair in her hand. And Candice is like, give. And Dakota looks down at it. And she just shakes her head, sadly looks down as Io gets to her feet, across the other side of the ring. And she does just drop the chair on the floor, shakes her head as she does it, leaves the ring. And Candice, watches her leave. And then she goes to pick up the steel chair herself. And Io has grabbed it, and she starts wailing shots to the back of Candice. And Candice, retreats out of the ring. Cammy gets into the ring. She jumps Io again. She actually gets physical. She shoves Io to the ground. Asuka spits mist in her face. She's down. And, yeah, Io stands tall with the chair in her hand. Asuka stands tall with, the mist around her mouth. And that's how we close SmackDown ahead of the Royal Rumble. '87. Calm little go-home show. We'll take that. And yes, we're officially done with not officially, because there's still a Velocity, but in terms of the main 3 shows, we're officially done with the build to the Royal Rumble. Next episode will be the Rumble itself, but first, we've got Velocity to get through. Very quick Velocity here, Rumble hype. I'm not sticking around putting, super important details into Velocity this week. Considering we've got a championship match, we just had a trio championship match last week, and we've got, an announcement about Speed tonight, and yeah, just 4 nice cruiserweight matches on this show. The first match, Angelico versus Ashante the Adonis. Ashante, the God Adonis Truth himself, has been losing a lot recently on ECW. He's sort of taken up that de facto heel jobber role on ECW recently, so we'll give him a nice win here. He beats Angelico in 13 minutes and 30 by pinfall. 68 for Angelico, 66 for Ashante. 71 for the next match. Zachary Ben-Shahar against Evan Bourne. 2 of the OGs of cruiserweights. Noam Dar obviously was around the 2016 relaunch of the division. And Evan Bourne, predates that and then came back right at the start of Velocity. So yeah, nice little match here. Zachary Ben-Shahar does win with the Champagne Super Knee Bar. 72 for Zachary, 57 for Evan Bourne. Then cut backstage. Velocity's number 1 interviewer, Sho Funaki, is with David Martin, the Speed Champion. And he goes, David, you successful Speed Champion. You've beaten luchadors, you've beaten strong-style Japanese juniors, and you've beaten British wrestlers. And he goes, I have proven, Funaki, that I am the greatest international superstar in WWE today, no matter what country or what background or what style of wrestling they pull out for me. I get it done, okay? So I hear there's a big announcement about my championship. Okay, what have you got for me, Funaki? He goes, well, next week, we'll start the next WWE Speed Championship tournament. Dana Martin goes, great, who's in it? And he goes, you'll have to wait and find out, sir. And he goes, alright, okay. It's that big of a secret, is it? Sure. Speed Championship tournament starting next week for my championship. I'll do it. I don't know why I'm giving him the American accent. He should be speaking like me. But yes, Speed Championship tournament starts next week. 57. Calm little match. Uriah Connors defeats Futuro in 10:23 by pinfall. 37 for Uriah Connors, 60 for Futuro. So again, nice little win for Uriah Connors. He's a cool little guy, and I want to do more with him. And they should do more of him on NXT, although I do think the team with KO Dixon fucking rules, because I'm a sucker for teams like that. So there's a good chance you may end up seeing them on the main roster soon, if they, get more TV time on NXT, I get to learn more about the character. And then our main event gets a 79. Cedric Alexander, the Cruiserweight Classic, defeats the Cruiserweight future, Javon Evans, in 15 minutes 24 of a lumbar check to make defense number 7 of the Cruiserweight Championship. 80 for Cedric, 66 for Javon. Yeah, nice little match. Banger. A match they never got to do in real life because they fucking released Cedric before they could do it, even though they were building it. Because Triple H has no idea what's going on in NXT nowadays, just like he did when Mustafa Ali got released. Anyway, that ends the show. And the show gets to 75. Nice, calm little velocity. Yeah, what matters more, that's what you thought of the show, mainly of SmackDown. And I'll see you next time. Episode 102. It will be the Royal Rumble. It's so annoying. Like, I don't know if I titled the end of year awards and, like, another episode that I did that wasn't a Raw or SmackDown or ECW, but it would have been really fucking beast if episode 100 was the Rumble. Not just because, episode 100 being the Rumble would be sick, but episode 100 of TEW 2020 was the Royal Rumble as well. So that would have been, alas, it's not to be. And that would have been so good, but no. Fate was not on my side this time. I'll take it up with the Musaya next time I see him. But yes, see you then.